What is up, guys? It is me, Deshaun, and we are back again with another Fire Force video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to become a member of the Rash Plays Brigade. Yep, you heard that right. And also, could you guys please get this video to 100 likes so we can show the rest of YouTube just how hyped we are for Fire Force. Anyways, let's dive right into this chapter review. This chapter starts with the continuous downpour that started from the previous chapter, really giving a good sense of atmosphere for what's to come later on in this chapter. Shinra and Haumea then proceed to have a standoff, staring at each other coldly until Shinra says, "Let's shed all that despair through your tears in the rain." To which Haumea responds, "Despair is despair because no matter how much you try, it will not shed." Is that so? It was your tears that started this downpour after all. Your tears made the world stronger by making the rain pour and the earth firm up. As Shinra says this, he begins to touch the ground, gripping it as he forces power into the earth and eventually creates mountains. And alongside these mountains, he has recreated life on earth as well. As you can see, there are now birds, giraffe, and fish now exist on this earth that Shinra has recreated. Do you know about migratory birds? They travel long around the earth, depending on the season. Those birds aren't just in Tokyo either. There are whole other continents where those migratory birds cross over to. And what really makes this scene hit harder than you'd initially think is when you take into account just how hellish and uninhabitable the rest of the world is in Fire Force. Not only do animals not exist in their world outside of the ones that exist on the Oasis in the Chinese Peninsula, but you can only imagine what it's like for someone like Shinra to picture in his head just what kind of animals there are out there that he's never seen before, and not only this, what the continents are like outside of the island of Japan. And this idea in Shinra's mind perfectly shows him just how more there is to the earth as he watches these same migratory birds fly off into what one could assume to be one of the other continents. Shinra, watching this as he thinks about what more there is to the earth, would obviously want to be like one of those birds, to one day see one of those continents flying off to see just how beautiful the earth actually is. Arthur, watching from space, begins to see just how beautiful the earth is once it's restored to its original state. Similar to how Shinra was just taking in the earth from his point of view while he is actually on it. "You still don't understand." Haumea shoots another blast at Shinra, but while in a panic as she shoots her shot, she misses and begins to destroy the same earth that Shinra just created. With the completion of the Great Cataclysm, this planet was made into a sun, and yet you're still trying to repeat the sorrowness that has ceased for once. You can only be irresponsible with power. But have you not listened to collective unconscious of humanity? You said I was like a god, didn't you? But isn't it you who gained the power of all creation and became a god? You're the one who is irresponsibly recreating hell on earth. You're a devil that is under the facade of a god. Shinra then pauses after Haumea says all of these things to him, thinking, as he doesn't fully realize the weight of his actions. Haumea continues to sob and suffer from the collective unconscious of humankind. "Oh Lord, you have caused us more suffering yet again. You may contradict yourself, but you're still God. Is it wrong for you to give equal death and salvation to all things? I won't let you get away with escaping despair, Shinra Bon Showman." Shinra finally realizing, he questions himself. "I'm God?" Sho, realizing this, acts as if he's Shinra's guardian angel advising him. "Brother, I believe she's right. This doesn't solve anything. I used to be a white clad too, so I can sympathize with the saint's path. You are recreating the world as you please. But the saint is the one who creates the despair and thrives off of it." And what Sho is basically telling Shinra here is that where there will be a world, there will always be despair. So you're basically going to continue creating the world and causing despair to exist, regardless of what Hao-Mei has been telling you and teaching you during this whole entire altercation. Where there is a world, there will always be a Kishin to thrive off of despair. By recreating the earth, you'll only make the saints suffer again along with the rest of humanity. So brother, what are you actually trying to achieve? Is the goal to try and create Eden? Because even a paradise like Eden is sure to fall. Shinra pauses, finally realizing what the problem is. And during this moment, the same will that he has created now dissolves into black flames. This is the despair that Hao-Mei has been exposed to. We then get a look at Hao-Mei's perspective as she takes in all of humanity's collective unconscious. She hears thoughts such as disgust, pain, emptiness, and unwillingness. Even from such an innocent flower blossom comes despair that is unleashed spontaneously. And it is at this moment we finally get the true answer on where spontaneous human combustion comes from. Spontaneous human combustion occurs when your doppelganger collides with your natural self. And the doppelganger version of you is humanity's perception of you. And if the collective consciousness of humanity is despair, when despair is released spontaneously, that would cause the cognitive version of you to merge with yourself. Despair, or I guess you could say madness, is inside of everyone. It can be inside of someone as innocent as Hao-Mei or someone as heroic as Shinra. And it is at this moment when Shinra finally realizes that Hao-Mei has been harboring all of humanity's despair all on her own. So that's what she's been doing all along. That hysterical strength you talk about is just another way to escape from despair. And the only ones that can do that are the established like you. It's something only the strong can do. The strong like Benimaru and Arthur. Have you ever thought about what it's like to be weak? Being blamed for the death of your family, despite the slander. You stood up and pushed forward. As a fire soldier that protects the weak. All those vulnerable souls. Have you ever thought about those nameless people even once? The weak don't know how to fight despair. They do not see despair, and without acknowledging it, they crumble. And as they are unconscious, it overfloods the world. Lord, will you not let the weak escape this hell? Shinra pauses and says, that's not right. I'm not God. No, the power you are wielding definitely belongs to a god. Brother, what do you intend to do? You say you are not a god. Creation stems from imagination. It forms the very earth. That's exactly what makes you God, Shinra Bon Shellman. Shinra's imagination is what gives him the strength to create. Just like Benimaru, just like Arthur, the strong receive power from their very own imaginations. Arthur imagined himself as a knight, and this would make him stronger. All of these lessons that Benimaru taught Shinra and Arthur are now playing their part perfectly. When Benimaru taught Shinra and Arthur about the breath of life, he told them that the tension alone is enough to make your head spin when your life is on the line. When your head is spinning, it is hard for you to imagine anything or get any power from your imagination. If you're always aware of the life around you, then the tension won't get to you as bad. This is just one example of how Benimaru teaches Arthur and Shinra how to utilize their imagination to its fullest potential. It's just like when Shinra and Arthur were first learning how to use ki. Shinra had to focus and imagine the flow of energy going into his feet. You can be whatever you want to be in this world. Whatever you picture yourself becoming, it is possible. Even if you picture yourself as something bad, you can also change that perception into something else, making it inevitably what you actually want to be. Shinra was able to take this perception of him being a demon and was able to use that same perception and become a hero through it. Your imagination is what makes you who you are, and it also gives you the strength to be who you want to be. Make what you want to make, or in this case, create what you want to create. Because everything starts off as an idea, before it is then created and brought into this world. Using your imagination and the power of God, you formed all creation. And this is exactly what Shinra did when he thought about the whale and then proceeded to create it, alongside the mountains and the birds, and thus created a new hell. Shinra pauses and then says, "You think this is all hope has to offer? I keep looking forward, so I won't take a single step back. Just watch me. For the sake of humanity, I will resist you to the very end." Shinra gets ready to kick the earth again, and then Haomeya immediately tries to counter him with her attack. Here goes. Shinra snuffs out Haomeya's attack and begins to recreate civilization. It could not be. The light of despair travels at the speed of light, but you kicked it away. Shinra then explains how he just recreated civilization. I didn't make this with just one kick. I did this by stopping and reversing time over and over again. You kept doing it until you made something like this. Just how many times? Well, I might have been a little too enthusiastic, so things started toppling over. I've been going back and forth a lot, but it all worked out in the end. I already told you, didn't I? I believe in the future, and I won't take one step back. The Adala burst isn't just about destruction, it's the flame of rebirth as well. These are the tears I shed. What are you trying to do now? You can't mean to. Oh, but I do. You mean to turn my tears back into souls? Brother, don't forget what I said. This is not a solution. Shinra then takes these same souls from the evangelist and returns them back to their rightful owners. Arthur, watching from space, watches as the earth grows with life. I can feel the breath of life coming from earth. No, this is the wavelength of souls. As we continue, we see that humanity is now being restored. Despite the completion of the cataclysm, everyone has been brought back to life. And when I say everyone, I really do mean everyone. They even brought back the villains. A very questionable choice, but I guess it is what it is. But to skim through to tell you all of the important characters that have been brought back to life: Hibachi, Burns, Hog, Huang. Well, you know what? Honestly, everybody got brought back. They got brought back. Even the dude with the nice shoes got brought back. Reika got brought back. Even the dude from the first chapter got brought back to life. And you know, since Obi got brought back to life, the 8th just had to dogpile him. It's so beautiful. This is unbelievable. Did I not tell you that history will repeat itself from this catastrophe to the next? Brother, is this really okay? And this chapter ends with Shinra smiling. What could possibly happen next with these few chapters to come? Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next chapter review.